Welcome to Season 2 of Far Reach Voyages, where we share our love of sailing and adventure travel. In Season 1, my sister Tricia and I sailed the Far Reach from North Carolina to the Virgin Islands after I spent 6 years rebuilding her into my ideal voyaging machine. In Season 2, I single-hand the Far Reach from St. Maarten back to North Carolina, a voyage of about 1,340 nautical miles. This will be my first long single-handed passage. But before we cover the voyage home, we need to get the story caught up. While I sailed the boat engine-free to the Virgin Islands, I felt it was a good idea to have the ability to maneuver under power in the crowded anchorages of the Virgin Islands while sailing with my inexperienced family. Without an engine, we would have to anchor in deeper water on the outside edge of the crowded anchorages and would be more exposed to the ever-present trade winds and associated rolly swells. Before Tricia and I sailed from North Carolina, I installed a clever rotating arm outboard bracket on the stern quarter of the Far Reach. It was designed and built by Yves Gelina, also the builder of our Cape Horn self-steering wind vane. I put a link in the description for this episode if you want to watch a video of how the bracket works. So after Tricia and I arrived in the Virgin Islands, I had our 9.8 horsepower Honda 4-stroke outboard shipped to St. Thomas. While the outboard could move the Far Reach along at nearly 6 knots on flat water, it was not usable in a chop and certainly not offshore, where it would be swamped even on a calm day with the ever-present ocean swell. But it was perfect for allowing us to easily maneuver the Far Reach deeper into the crowded bays. Additionally, for the single-handed voyage home, I thought it a good idea to install a standalone AIS that both transmits and receives. The AIS would help warn me of approaching ships while sleeping or attending to other shipboard activities that precluded me from maintaining a 24/7 physical lookout. I chose the Vesper Watchmate 850, a very capable unit that requires little power to operate, which was essential since a 30-watt solar panel and a 100 amp-hour battery comprised the entire electrical system of the Far Reach. After my family returned home to the mainland in April 2016 so the kids could attend their high school prom, I single-handed the Far Reach overnight, about 100 miles to St. Maarten. I spent a month there, and I had a great time meeting all kinds of fascinating world voyagers. While in St. Maarten, I installed a halyard diverter to eliminate chafe on the jib halyard. With that task completed, I waited for a weather window. On 20 May, I repositioned the Far Reach from the wonderfully protected inner lagoon of St. Maarten to the open roadstead of Simpson Bay. On the morning of 21 May, I weighed anchor under sail and got underway for what would be a magical 1,300-mile single-handed voyage home. It's St. Maarten, leaving it behind. It's 21 May, about 09:35. Double reef main, working jib, making about 6 knots. Good weather forecast from Chris Parker this morning. So we should have trades, easterly trades, east-southeast, 15 to 20 knots the next couple of days, and then we're going to run into some light air, some squally weather on Monday night, I think. It's good to be back to sea. Put up a little sun awning. Very nice, very cool and breezy underneath. Up on about 7 hours since we weighed anchor this morning. St. Maarten has sunk below the eastern horizon, and the winds are about, 15, 18 knots. Beautiful. And the wind's on the starboard quarter, so we're in a kind of a broad reach. Kind of getting back into the routine of things. All thumbs for the first 6 hours, but things are sorted out a lot better now. Straight sun awning set up. Just lovely ocean sailing. About 1,150 miles to go. Day 2, 0952 on the 22nd of May 2016. We're about 175 miles from St. Maarten. We made 140 miles yesterday. All in all, I'm pretty pleased. Steering about 330 to 315. It's beautiful. I was visited by tropic birds this morning. Sun awning rigged. The jib was collapsing behind the main, so I went ahead and decided to pull it out. We're not exactly in a run, but close enough. Kind of a very broad reach most of the time. It's a working jib, and I shook the second reef out of the main this morning. We're making about 7.5 knots coming off the face of the waves, maybe 5.5. We kind of wallow on the backside, so we're averaging a little over 6, I think. Day 3. We made 145 miles yesterday, 140 the day before, so we're near on 300 miles from St. Maarten. I'd say we have about 900 and something to go. Today I have a double reef main up and the pulled out working jib, wing and wing. Beautiful day. Wind's getting close to 20. The seas are mostly moderate, but every once in a while we get a bigger swell. Very spectacular view. A tropical wave coming through tonight, supposed to bring squally weather and then very little wind for a day and a half, and then restart of the easterly trades. There may be there's a trough forming up over the Bahamas that could be a problem for us, but it's a little early to tell. We'll just keep sailing and adjust accordingly. As you can see, I think this is the beginning of that tropical wave that's supposed to overtake us. This big line of cumulonimbus clouds stretching off to the northeast, all the way down around to the southwest. And I jibed over a little while ago, but right now I've sort of broad reaching a little bit, not running so much, trying to get in that gap between those two big groups of clouds. I think it's going to come to naught. I think there's just more stuff behind it. Either pay now or pay later, I think. But it's the first big thunderstorms I've seen in quite a while. So I heard a little rumbling a while ago. We'll just have to deal with whatever comes our way. Join us for episode 2, where we encounter more light winds and then the first in a series of squalls as Tropical Storm Bonnie begins to develop and influence our weather on the way home. If you enjoyed this episode of Far Reach Voyages, let us know in the comments. Also, consider liking and subscribing, as it tells us you would like to see more videos and it helps the channel grow. See you next episode.